If I were black, I could have saved a lot of lives in the last 3 years. It's true, and here's why. Black privilege. I know a lot of y'all are just going to stop watching because I said that. But they pegged me as a homeless person. They put me all over the news. And the horrible things that happened to Michelle Rodriguez later on at the hands of my predators, and also Samuel Leon Lawrence IV. If I had been black, I could have said that that was a racially motivated crime. Well, with the exception of the fact that the officer who committed that crime was a black officer. And Michelle Rodriguez is still trying to fight it on the race card. And so is Samuel Leon Lawrence IV. By the way, that same officer, Officer Waylon Lolotai, was there and present in Zaid Atkinson's situation as well. He assaulted 7 people in 2017. All of them either homeless or assumed to be homeless. This is what they teach in police academy. Who is the easiest to victimize? Who's more easy to victimize than a homeless person? A homeless minority. Being a minority doesn't make you more victimized than a homeless person. When you're a homeless person, you are stuck in it. See, if you're a black person in a house, people have to come break into your house to victimize you or wait for you to come out. And when they're looking for a random victim and you're in your house watching TV, watching your kids, doing your paperwork to try to get your bills paid, whatever it is that you're doing, that's time where you have a much safer environment than out on the streets when anybody can get at you. Anybody. Now, I got white privilege, and that does exist as well. And I'm going to tell you why white privilege didn't do me any good. It's because the white privilege that I got still didn't get me in on this court date because I'm still homeless. They can still call me mentally ill and do whatever they want. The white privilege they gave me is after I'd been all over the news, they wanted to show that they were doing something, but they weren't. They were just playing for the media. And they do that a lot. Police officers. If I had been black, when I spoke up about Waylon Lolotai, Darren O'Connor, when he went and spoke to the news about all of Waylon Lolotai's victims, he intentionally forgot about me. Why is that? He said it's because my case is too complicated. There are too many people involved in the government where I was not represented. And they can say and do whatever it is that they want. There's nothing that he can do about it, nothing that I can do. I already knew that. Right now, we got a lot of people who are going through this, and we got a lot of people who are trying to pretend like it's a race issue. Now, don't get me wrong. That's not to say that race doesn't have a part to do with it. That race card, the police use that as well. They use that to railroad people who they assume are going to be too broke because they're minorities or immigrants. Police use the hell out of that. But America's aware of it. A lot of people are aware of it, and people aren't talking about it as if it's a conspiracy theory any longer. People are giving real credit to this. But there are a lot of victims, a whole lot, who aren't black. A whole lot, so many. And we're fighting a tough battle because when we speak about our situations and how we had to go through things, we get told that we need to shut up because we're not black and it's a black issue. No, police brutality is not a black issue, it's a poverty issue. The same thing when they do it to the homeless. They assume your poverty and therefore assume your guilt as far as victimization. God, he's homeless. Nobody's gonna fucking come to this guy's rescue. Only bank off locking him up. Between 170 and $300 a day for housing an inmate. Holy shit. Most people I know ain't never seen that in a day. Not for one day's labor, that's for certain. Not for one day's anything. I mean, sure, there's a lot of people who sold vehicles. A lot of that stuff's done by paper and or done electronically now. You just go in, you sign a piece of paper and all that. Now, I know y'all are like, what does this have to do with anything? What's the title of the video? Right? The fact is, a lot of the things that happen to me, people ignored because I'm homeless and because I'm white. If I were black, then people would have looked at the death of Tibor Hatay and said, hey, this black man was speaking out 5 months before Tibor Hatay was killed, and like 8 or 9 months before that woman was killed there, with exactly the same things that I tried to tell y'all about. But I'm told to shut up. I'm told that I'm trying to take away from the black cause. No, I'm not. Issues of police brutality are issues of police brutality, no matter who it is that they are victimizing. I'm not pretending that it didn't happen to you. I've spoken out about these things and all of the victims, regardless of color. I've spoken out about the racism that I have endured in my life and that I have seen in my life. And I have stood up to racists, no matter what color they are. With the situation with Natalie's case, any fucking idiot can tell that these guys were trying to frame me for a crime that I didn't commit. I hate unstable connections. All right. Queen of Spades type way past my bedtime. What time is it there, sweetie? It's 10:42 p.m. It's been a long day, but I'm blessed, so can't complain. Fuck anyone who tells you to shut up. Fuck them. You keep speaking truth. Absolutely. If I were black, Black Lives Matters would have picked it up. They would have made an immediate connection between the things that I had to go through at these facilities. Many of these very same officers, specifically by name, who were involved in the murders of other people. Like Boulder police officers killing Demetrius Shankling. Or, well, a great many people in Boulder have sued the city of Boulder for how they were treated in the chair. I am the only person in Boulder County history, so as anyone there who works there knows, that has ever slipped out of their chair. I told them, don't do that. Do not do that. Do not do that. I need a police officer here now. All they were interested in was harming me for speaking out about their officers. Train! That was in Boulder, Colorado. Like 8 months. 8 months after being assaulted by Officer Waylon Lolatai. If I had been black, there's a possibility that Joseph Michael Lopez, the guy who actually murdered her and is in prison for it, they probably would have tipped him 20 fucking bucks. Fucking jobs, all they do it. Sorry, unstable connection. Says Boulder PD sucks. They can't do their fucking jobs. All they do it. fuck with homeless people and give tickets, assholes. No, they also beat us and they also killed a lot of us. I mean, a lot of us. There are over 300 people that I know and love. Most of them from Boulder, Colorado. Matter of fact, if I took out all of the love, Glitter Queen of Spades type, who killed her? Why did he kill her? Jesus. His name was Joseph Michael Lopez. He shot her in the head because she asked him to. Because I exposed her dad as a child molester, a rapist, man who gets drunk and beats his daughters. I exposed her family with an email that she had sent me in 2016. I sent that email, or I posted that on her father's timeline in 2017. Joseph Michael Lopez was a pizza delivery boy. He was also going to be a father soon, I guess. But I got to get back on topic. I'm sorry. Black privilege. It wasn't just Demetrius Shankling and Elijah Wood, or not Elijah Wood, but Elijah McClain. Elijah McClain was killed by the same method that Tibor Hatay was. The same method that I spoke out about ever since I was a kid. When you need a cop, you need a cop. You don't need fucking drugs injected into you. I've had that happen to me 11 times at least since Natalie was killed. You know what that's like? Those medications, those drugs in that combination permanently fucks your brain up. You don't recover from those injections for 3 to 5 months if you're lucky. If you're lucky. It's a fucking chemical lobotomy. They call it a chemical restraint. They come in and tell you that the doctor ordered it. The doctor didn't order it. You heard the officer ask specifically for that. Obviously, the officer is not a fucking doctor. Don't bullshit me. And you can see in these videos where these officers have done that same exact thing. Like that man in Texas, Tony, was injected with drugs after he was dead. They're only supposed to inject those into you if you're being violent and you are a danger to yourself and others. You're not supposed to inject it into people for trying to turn in the police or their predators, especially not a fucking disabled person. You use my intelligence to do that. Well, they use the term mentally ill to describe all of my disabilities. Sorry about that. It was getting stuck on me again. Let's see. They shot them. Dan is but a dream type. Sean, Glitter Queen of Spades type. He deserves a bullet between his fucking eyes. Hate pedophiles. Glitter Queen of Spades typed, hey Dan, honey. Glitter Queen of Spades typed OMG. Dan is but a dream type. Hey Glitter. PSA. My real name is Dream. LOL. Pretty cool. Glitter Queen of Spades typed, I'm Cherokee. Dan is but a dream typed, I'm Moa. LMAO. Glitter Queen of Spades posted up some different colored hearts. Glitter Queen of Spades typed, wow, that's fucking sick. Because they're typing to each other. Apparently they became friends on my YouTube here, which is pretty cool. They're also listening to me a little bit. Mobile, Washington County, Indiana. Wow. Since when do fucking cops tell doctors what to give people? The fuck? Well, most of my life, actually, this is pretty standard procedure. The hospitals have a very close working relationship with the police. And if the police have anybody that they have that's an issue, um, including black people, that's where you take them to have them certified as crazy to protect your officers. You know, you call me a beasthole, but I'm an asshole. I truly am. Don't fuck with people. Don't fuck with black people around me. Don't be a fucking racist. Don't fuck with Mexican people. Don't fuck with anybody around me, especially not fucking kids. The biggest issue that we're dealing with right now is that people are trying to compartmentalize issues. All right, we've got the police being predators, predatory towards all of the poor people in America, all of us. And the more poor you are, the more they jump on us. But it's not just the police, it's also the tax mongers. And it's not just the tax mongers. I mean, seriously, we live in the most fucked up goddamn country telling people how fucking great we are. Holy shit, we are the largest human traffickers on the planet. The United States is. It needs to stop. How do we make it stop? Dan is but a dream type fuck racist. I agree. No matter what color you are. There are scummy fucks who need to be in prison, these crooked murdering cops. I agree with that too. Prison, 100% I agree with. Dan is but a dream type and fuck pedophiles. One cure for pedos, a bullet between the eyes. Here's the problem with that Glitter Queen of Spades. That's what Glitter Queen of Spades typed. And it doesn't set the example and it doesn't free the innocent. If we put these pedophiles in prison for a long time, then we set the example. First of all, killing is wrong. That's just, how can one human being kill another human? I want to know that. Unless they're trying to kill you, I can understand that situation. If someone is trying to kill you, by all means, defend yourself. But why go murder somebody? If they've done things terrible enough to be murdered over, they've done things terrible enough to go to prison. And there's a lot of innocent people in prison who are homeless or former foster children. Glitter Queen of Spades type, make task forces and quit paying all these shitty cops and focus on helping the homeless and missing. I get so angry since I was abused. I couldn't pull the trigger unless it was my family or a friend. Most of the people that I stayed with were talking about if they were victimized, that they got a gun, and I got to hear almost everybody that I stayed with what caliber firearm they had. Candace had a 45. Like, if anybody comes to my house to fuck with me or my kids or you, I'll put a 45 between their eyes. And who showed up to fuck with us? The cops. Officer Michael Beard of Haxton, Colorado. Miss Shelley could have been beaten to death. That's one of Natalie's stepmothers, ex-step. Like someone was struggling but couldn't scream. And that officer told me, big old shit-eating grin on his face, that there was nothing he could do about it because of jurisdiction. I needed to write my local senator. Like, she could have been being beaten to death right then and there. And that is right there what let me know that it was a fucking fucked up setup. It should have registered right there at that moment. But at that same point in time, I was still dealing with having to try to find Natalie's killer, trying to keep Miss Candace and her kids safe. And all of the stuff that I had to deal with Brandon Jepson, with the telephone not working, with the computers not working, with not having my computer. And this whole time, because what police did to me illegally, I can't turn in these predators. I'm not allowed. If I was a black person, BLM would lend an ear. BLM would say, hey, look how fucked up this shit is that they're doing this to a disabled black person. They tried to frame a disabled black person for a crime he didn't commit. But I'm a disabled white person. So is it okay for the police to do this to me? I want to know that. Those of you who are BLM supporters. Do I matter? Does my life matter? Am I worth fighting for the way that I've fought for you guys for so many years? I have literally gotten in between so many predators and their intended victims. Have I stood in front of knives or guns for every black person in America? Not by a fucking long shot. But the other thing is, I'm not racist. I've done that for white people too. I'm not sexist. I've done that for both men and women. Ashley Coffee, oh my god! Welcome back, Ashley. All right, I need to scroll up and read a little bit. Glitter Queen of Spades. I got a 22 and I got Shotguns We Hunt. Very good, Glitter Queen of Spades. Well done. That's the best thing about Nebraska. Sure, I'm surrounded by racist assholes, but that's part of my white privilege. Sure, I got Hebrew ancestry, and a lot of the racists in this town ain't real fond of that. That's about like being black to most of these folks. But you can't obviously immediately see it unless I get my hair wet and my Jew curls come out. That's what they're called apparently. My mom has called them that since I was like 10. When they get wet, they curl all up, and he always tells me I need to put on a hat. But hunting is pretty important. I recommend hunting with a bow, number one, and number two, I recommend learning how to make a bow. If you're not really good at handyman kind of stuff, or you don't want to spend a lot of time doing it, you can take green branches that are pretty reasonably straight and bundle a few of them together and make what's called a bundle bow. Because there's multiple ones and because they're still green, you can actually make them so that if you take curved boughs, then you can make basically a recurve bow with it, just by tying up only the part where there's the handle and then each end. Learn how to shoot with a bow. You can always get ammo that way. You want to make some pine tar and glue a rock, just literally a rock, to the front end of an arrow and go hunting for birds, and you can get more fletchings, things like that. I like guns, but they scare stuff away, and maybe you might want to feed more than 2 or 3 people. A rabbit is about enough food for one person for a day, minus the fiber that's essential. Glitter Queen of Spades type, what an asshole. Then, oh my God, Jesus. Ashley Coffee type, hello, love, long time no see, BFE interwebs. Miss participating with you. And that's the thing, it's important to participate. Let's see. Glitter Queen of Spades typed, shouldn't fucking matter what color you are. Crimes were committed against you and others. That isn't justice. They don't care and it's fucking sick. And I agree. Glitter Queen of Spades typed, hello, Ashley, hugs beautiful. Yep, got bows and crossbows. Righteous. I hope you watch the Slingshot channel on YouTube and also Todd's stuff. He'll even show you how to make your own. That's pretty cool. Both of them do, actually. Ashley Coffee type, hello, Queen. Hugs to you as well. Glitter Queen of Spades typed, yes, sir. And a whole bunch of rainbow colors. Absolutely. LGBT pride all the way. I'm not even gay, but you know what? I've been harassed, picked on, beaten up for being gay most of my life. When I get really nervous, I do this sometimes. And sometimes when I'm not so nervous, I'll just do that. And yes, I've been beaten up for winking at dudes. I've also been beaten up by syndrome is not always that much fun. Plus, you got tics, and a lot of them are nervous tics. So the more nervous you are, the more they come out. But then you've also got stimming, which is an autistic thing. And when you're doing both of those at once, people just assume you're on fucking drugs. I mean, we've seen video upon video upon video upon video upon video about police victimizing autistic people, assuming that they're on drugs. Now officers, because they made such a fucked up mistake, got to try to have me framed as, well, a druggie. I'm a pothead. Marijuana. And for the most part, I don't smoke it. You know why? Because I don't like being fucking stoned. I don't like the fucking pills. They make me sick. Marijuana doesn't make me sick. If I take the pills and I smoke marijuana, I don't want to throw up those pills as much. But marijuana for me is only for social things, only social situations. Marijuana doesn't help in any other situation. When I'm here by myself, sure, I get overwhelmed by all the things that I'm not able to do, but I'm not overwhelmed by my environment. And that environment includes people, especially when you're autistic, especially when you're high functioning autistic and you catch everything. And then there's too much moving at once for you to catch as much as you can. I mean, you're picking up as much as people pick up in 10 minutes. You're picking it up in the first 1 to 2 to 3 seconds. And you're running all of those scenarios through your heads. That's something that we are wonderful at. Our scenarios are ultra realistic, but they're also ultra fact based. So you could have somebody who's autistic write you a story about space, and they could make you a hell of a fantasy story, and you would love it because it's believable. How insane is that? Processes and procedures, being able to break down patterns and automatically figure out patterns. A lot of the stuff with human nature is patterns, and that's how, with a lot of this, I was able to predict it happening before it happened. And even better than that, I had the wherewithal to make sure it was documented on Facebook or YouTube or both before those things happened, or rather before they happened to me in this situation. If I were black, then Black Lives Matter would care. And that would make all the difference in the world. That would also make all the difference in the world for missing and murdered Indigenous women, missing and murdered Indigenous people. That would also make all the difference in the world for immigrants and for the LGBT and many, many other groups who are also marginalized, who are taking a back seat hoping that this will get better. But it's not going to get better for all of them. They're writing laws that are racist, laws that are specific to color. Meanwhile, we need Breonna's law for all of us. Breonna's law would have prevented what these police did to me repeatedly with their body cameras. Breonna's law would have prevented them from being able to do those things. If I had been black, there's a much better chance that I would have been heard. And if I would have been heard, people would have been pissed like they are when these things happen to black people. And they'd have been pissed off enough to actually speak out and say, hey, man, it's fucked up. You are always trying to do this to black people. Well, guess what? They're not always trying to do that to black people. They're always trying to do that to poor people, regardless of your color. Poor is the thing that we have in common. The assumption of poverty and the assumption of guilt. We need to be fighting for these kids, yo. When you go to prison because you were falsely accused by police, your kids go into the system, or they're being raised by a single mom, and they're impoverished. A single parent home, that child ends up being raised Well, not by their parents. Their parents are constantly working. You got to work to pay the bills, and you also have you try to get a job that you can take your kid along with. The kid wants to know why they can't help. Well, I don't want to get in trouble for child labor laws. My boss doesn't even want me to have you here. It's an emergency. And sometimes your boss makes an exception, and sometimes they fire you. This doesn't just happen to black families. It happens to a lot of families. A lot of these families need help. And a lot of these families have been supporting BLM since the start, despite the fact that they're Native American, not black, despite the fact that they're white, not black, despite the fact that they're immigrants, not black. They're fighting for your rights hard as fuck, bro. Hard as fuck. Give them some fucking credit. Acknowledge that we're all trying. We're trying to fight for your rights as well as our own. We want this to stop for all victims. And Breonna's law, the no-knock raid law, that requires them to not fuck with their body cameras. That's what we need nationwide. And that's just a start. Civilian oversight to overlook those things, to look at those body cameras when someone says, hey, they did something fucked up. It needs to be investigated immediately. What those officers did to my wrist, they just kept me locked up, made sure that I was locked up until the marks around my wrist were gone. They refused to take pictures of it, refused to do anything about it. And the mental health worker lady there, her name's in video somewhere back there. Can't remember it at the moment. But it is documented, which is good. She's a mental health worker in Boulder County. And she told me that what the police did at the hospital, they do often to the homeless. To the homeless. She spoke specifically about that tactic and who their victims are. Zaid Atkinson, had he been homeless, they would have tried to break his wrist. The 11 other people that I was in jail with that had those marks on their wrist were all homeless people. Most of them homeless people I knew. They turn your wrist sideways in the handcuffs, and it's excruciating, and they do it intentionally. They don't do this to black people. They don't, not unless those black people are homeless. They don't do it to white people unless those white people are homeless. If it's a rich person, well, you can kind of get away with manhandling a little bit, but you're not going to get away with doing what you did to me. Not for a rich person, and in this climate, not for a black person either. Fact is, we all need to work together. When you say you're going to teach your kid a different way, no, you're telling your kid a different way. Like, it's too late for me to make a change, but I'm going to teach my kid a different way. No, you teach your kids a different way by making that change, by not making the excuse that you can't. Because when you make the excuse that you can't without ever making the effort, then that's all it is an excuse, because you never tried. When I say I can't, I have tried. And I admit that it's and I can't unless I get that help. Also, if I'd have been black and the police would have killed me, all of these people who threw me away would have remembered me for who I am and not how I was painted and not how frustrated I am with all of the abuse that I've had to go through, because people just simply didn't speak up. They didn't try hard enough. Next time you try to talk to the police about my situation, please record it, please, and message me. telling me where I can grab it and I can share it to prove that I'm not the only one who tried. I've already got plenty of people that I recorded our conversations. They're mad because I posted that up on YouTube instead of taking it to the police. Well, with all due respect, I tried to take it to the police. They said, well, Sean, I want you to take it down. You can use it in court, but you can't leave it up there for the world to see. No, I can't take it down. I will not be allowed to use it in court unless you come forward, either in public or in court. And you will have to come out to the public because they denied you. You will have to speak up about that, or it's not going to make a difference. A lot of people helped me a shit ton, and through all of it, I explained to them, but you need to speak up and you need to look at the evidence. Nobody was willing to do that. Nobody. They were busy telling me how to think and how to feel. Busy talking about themselves. People love talking about themselves. And you know what? I've been talking about myself too. And the situations I've been in, but also the situations of others. I am not going to pretend that these other victims don't exist. I'm not going to pretend that black people can't be victimized just because they're black. I'm not going to pretend white people can't be victimized just because they're white. I'm not going to pretend Christians can't be predators just because they say in Jesus' name. And Mills, a couple of ARs. We got this on lock, LOL. Totally. See, a lot of people who offered to help me own guns. You know what? The people who offered to kill people for me also own guns. And I turned them down. I said, no. No, I want them in prison. We need to set the example. We need to set the legal precedents. But we've allowed it to be set the other way with my cases and Natalie's case. Where it's legal to victimize the victims by calling them mentally ill and pretending that they never tried. When in actuality, they tried everywhere that they could, and everywhere they could, they got shot down. You can hear from officers through all of these places where multiple officers in the exact same place for the same exact friggin' department had completely conflicting stories about what I was supposed to do legally. From all of these departments, you can hear how it's also interdepartmental with all of that crap. The police hide their crimes not just against black people. It's easier to hide it against homeless people because no one cares. You look at me and you see a white person. But I fit the most marginalized groups in America. 4 of the top 5, and I used to be a foster child. At that point in time, well, I was the number 1 on the list for victimization in this country. Foster children are number 1. Foster children. Foster children. 80 to 85% of all child pornography comes from the foster care system. Where does the foster care system get its children? From CPS and from the police. CPS, to my knowledge, is the only agency in the United States that can write its own orders. They can write their own warrants. They don't need a judge. They get a judge to pre-sign something. They make 100 photocopies, and they just fill out the information whenever they want to take a child away. You see how many times CPS has lied? That they have been busted just in the last 3 years. Dozens of cases where these folks lost their jobs, or some of them are currently sitting in prison. Thank goodness. Glitter, Queen of Spades typed. Oh wow, there's a lot of stuff on here. Wow. All right. Glitter, Queen of Spades typed. I'll have to check those out. Thank you. Glitter, Queen of Spades typed. Nice. Glitter Queen of Spades type, my right eye twitches when I get really distressed and nervous. So that's somebody who can understand, at least to a little degree. Ashley Coffee typed, Glitter Queen of Spades, have you ever been beaten up as if you were a homosexual for winking at people? I'm not, but I have been. Not as in I have been homosexual, but I've been beaten up because people assumed I was. I know a lot of gay folks have told me that I can't understand because I'm straight. Is that kind of bullying any more mean if you're actually gay? I don't know. I've never been gay. But I do know that it hurts either way. I know that it hurt me a lot, not just emotionally, but also physically. And I have pretty high pain tolerance. Ashley Coffee typed, oh, and a son who is a U.S. Marine. Haha, we are set. Glitter Queen of Spades typed, poor people, doesn't matter color, it's poverty. You are absolutely right. Ashley Coffee typed, my son says, you got the people's eyebrow, lol. Most people ain't real proud of me or fond of me. Matter of fact, most of my people, as we call it in jail, done run away. Too afraid, and I understand why they're afraid. Ashley Coffee typed, I have nervous tics. Glitter Queen of Spades type, number one is home to raise the kids. That's right, a safe place. From day one through all of this, I needed a safe place. Ken and Leah's was not a safe place. They were victimizing me. Chapel, Nebraska is not a safe place because of the negativity. People who are autistic are sponges. We soak up everything. If we're surrounded by a bunch of people with shitty attitudes, we're soaking that up, and it hurts us so much. It hurts us physically. And how do I even try to explain that to you? It's like taking a stiff rake and a garden rake both at the same time, scratching down a chalkboard. It hurts. But when we're around pleasant, happy people, we become pleasant and happy. We soak it up. We soak up everything in our environment, including your emotions. Ashley Coffee typed, amen, glitter, damn effing straight. That's right. When Amy Witcher, who is still pissed off at me about turning it in, when she was pissed off at me for turning in Andrew for molesting her daughter, she was pissed off because she didn't have a safe place to go. That's what she typed to me. Sean, I don't have a safe place to go. I know exactly what that's like. I do. Also, I tried to get a hold of a woman to help me get Amy to a safe place. That's what I reached out to this woman for, so that we could get her to a safe place, so that she could leave him, so that she could do what it is that she had been trying to do. But we were unable to get that done. Because that woman, she jumped the gun. She couldn't wait just a few days to try to get Amy Witcher a safe place to go with her kids. I mean, she wasn't making enough for childcare. She needed a babysitter, and I babysat their kids a lot because they didn't have enough for childcare. And they needed childcare because Andrew couldn't get off the meth. And he kept on leaving for hours and hours and hours. Or up to Cheyenne Villa or Sioux Villa, which are the low income up there. But really, Sydney itself is mostly poor people, so the whole town is full of drugs. But when I wasn't babysitting the kids, since my apartment was very close to there, I'd see him walking with those kids to that fucking meth house when I wasn't babysitting. Meanwhile, I need these people's help. And I can't prove anything at that point in time. It's just Andrew's word against, well, basically everybody actually at that point. But Amy, she was willing to keep on protecting him. She needed a safe place before she could feel comfortable leaving that environment. She needed to know that she had a safe place where she wasn't going to be victimized, even worse than she already was. And homelessness, especially with kids, that turns into a lot of it. Glitter Queen of Spades type just trying to survive. They shouldn't be able to twist the body cameras. That's disgusting. Jesus. I'm not Jesus. I keep telling y'all, I'm not Jesus. I got a beard, okay? Jesus was not a white guy. Also, I don't have blue eyes like the white Jesus. I'd have to be the Jewish Jesus. Oh, you know what? I'm not even going to finish that because that sounds so fucked up. All right. Glitter Queen of Spades typed, it's so messed up. Normal people should be able to help create laws, not people who don't give a fuck. Yeah, rich people shouldn't be making laws for a bunch of poor people. Plain and simple. If they've never been impoverished, what the fuck do they have in common? What the fuck do they know about poverty enough to do something about it? They fucking don't. What's their bottom line? Bottom dollar. Glitter Queen of Spades typed, Jesus, how do you sleep? I really don't sleep much. It's hell. Glitter Queen of Spades type, they can't make you take down shit. They have. By slandering me to the public, they were able to use the public to destroy a lot of evidence. I got a lot of screenshots of people who are bragging in these Natalie Bollinger groups about how they called everything spam and my stuff went away. I've even showed a few of those on here on this fucking YouTube channel. Glitter Queen of Spades typed, that's just disgusting and wrong. You help people. I used to. I do so as much as I can now, but I am physically disabled and I'm financially, it's going to take a while to be able to recover. I mean, my bills for having to pay people off that I owe for helping me out is going to be done mostly this month. Out of the ones that still talk to me anyway. But there's everything else that I have to recollect, everything that I had that I could have used to defend myself back when Natalie first disappeared and before that I was trying to show. I literally took the evidence of the threats and harassment and bullshit that I had to go through. When Natalie got a hold of me and said that she wanted to meet in Boulder, Colorado, I said, I want to meet at the cop shop. I want to show you what's going on. That's literally what I was trying to do. I took that backpack with me and made that extremely long walk so that I could meet Miss Peaches where she lived in Aurora, so that she could give me a ride to Boulder, so that I could meet Miss Natalie at her request. And it wasn't Miss Natalie, it was protection order. But I had the evidence there that I was going to show Natalie the terrible things that people were doing to me, that she was pretending weren't happening. She said she wanted to end all the crazy. She never did. Glitter Queen of Spades type story, Sean. I am exhausted. Let's see. Sorry, Sean, I'm exhausted. I'll talk to you soon. Night, everyone. Keep staying safe and praying for you all. Hugs and love and prayers for better. And then there's one that's held for review I'm going to show. I'm a big girl. Anyone who tried beating my ass since I was 16 got knocked the fuck down. I'm married to a man 18 years this past June. Thankfully, he's 6'8". I'm 5'10" and 200 pounds. He's 300 pounds. I've whooped ass. Yup. When somebody's small and isn't able to do those things, it's a little bit scarier. I remember when I was large that I was untippable. I was like a weeble. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. It's just because my center of balance was slow. It was mostly in my butt and my legs and my belly. I did have some weird looking boobs though, and I'm glad they went away. Glitter Queen of Spades typed, to protect others and myself, I would have beaten the shit out of anyone who tried hurting you. Need more protectors, less scummy bullies. I don't know where the good people are anymore. We all got victimized into submission. The people that we rescued went back to their predators, and their predators victimized us, and the people that we rescued victimized us. It's hard work. You know, maybe 1 out of 20 people that you try to help actually gets anything out of it. You know, a lot of these addicts, they get a few months of sobriety when you help them out sometimes. And some of them ultimately do quit. And that's what we fight so hard for. It's for recovery. We need to work together. This racism isn't right for anyone. We need to do something to stop it. All of these issues that people are like, oh, you just need to pick one. No, they all have to do with one another. Foster children are the most victimized people in America. Then they age out of the system and they're homeless. So now we've got 4 more foster children who are homeless being victimized for having nothing. That ties in together. It also ties in together with a lot of the racism and a lot of the hatred and a lot of the BS and a lot of the people making different rules for them than for other people. It's okay for me, but not okay for you. It's okay for black people, but not for white people. It's okay for white people, but not for black people. No, 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 no. Police brutality is the issue. Child molesters and rapists getting away with committing those heinous crimes is the issue. The victims of police brutality being the ones that are, well, not just police brutality, but American standard brutality. You should brand that. American standard brutality for the homeless. Meanwhile, there are people who wanted to be loved and wanted to fit in so much, like Natalie and Alicia Bollinger, that they allowed grown men to literally brand them. Who were the people who branded Alicia and Natalie Bollinger? Literally branded them. That would be her ex-boyfriend, Cash. Also, Mr. Jonathan Hickson, aka Maverick. Y'all be safe. Protect each other. You see them fucking with the black man next door? You tell them to leave that man alone. He is your neighbor. You get to know him and you have yourselves a goddamn barbecue. That's my fucking solution. Go have a fucking barbecue with your neighbor. If we don't learn about the things that we're going through and learn about our neighbors and the things that they're going through, we may allow things to happen to them that we shouldn't. Things that we wouldn't want happening to us because we didn't get to know them. When the white man next door is being assaulted, please go help him too. Scream at the top of your lungs, hoot and holler, get in your car and honk the horn. Hell, put a shotgun round into the ground if you got to. Now you notice I said to put that shotgun round into the ground, right? Or a handgun or firecracker, whatever it takes. If you throw a firecracker while some people are beating somebody down, they're going to think it's a gun and they're going to run. So, you shoot it into the ground because what goes up must come down. You shoot it into the air like you just don't care, it's likely to come down and kill somebody or do property damage. And although I don't give a fuck about property damage, I do give a fuck about human beings. And as far as property damage, that depends on whose it is. But between property damage and somebody losing their life, by all means, if you have to destroy a lot of property to bring attention to your cause, so be it. Just make sure that it's your predator's property, like I did.